Welcome, first graders. Today you are going to need your art book, and today you're going to need 2 pages, and we're going to tear them out. Okay, so when I tear out paper, I take the page that I want to tear out and I flip it over like that, and then I'm going to put one hand up on the top, the other hand up on the top in the corner, and I'm going to push down with this hand, and I'm going to pull out this way with the hand that is holding on to the paper. And what that's going to do is start to tear. Now, I don't tear all the way. I tear to about halfway, and then I move this hand down, and I move the other hand down, and then I pull. All right. If you do it the first time and you tear the paper in half, just don't use that piece of paper, and then maybe ask an adult and see if they can help you out. So I have one. Now I need another one. So I'm going to take the other one, do the same thing, pull till about halfway, move my hands down, and pull again. So I'm going to take my art book, put that off to the side, and I have 2 pieces of paper. Right now we're going to focus on just one. So I put the other one off to the side, and now we're going to focus on just this one. So the first thing we have to do is we are going to fold this up so that it's almost like a book. So we're folding the paper in half. When I do that, I have my fingers on top, my thumbs are on the bottom, and I bring it up and I match the top and I match the top of both corners. And then you can kind of see I'm pushing down with those fingers. You could do it with your thumbs even. But I get them matched, and then I bring one hand to the center. I bring them both to the center, but I leave one, take the other one off. Then I take my fingers and I rub it down from that other hand, and then out one direction and then out the other direction. And if I did it right, then I should have a nice kind of matched corners. Okay, so now it opens like a book like this. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to close it like that. We're going to have the fringes on the bottom. Okay, and actually we'll keep it like that. All right, we are going to make a mark that goes almost out to the far side. So what you got to do is make sure that if your book opens like this, when you close it, this is what we're going to call the fold side. And this is what we're going to call the open side. We had the same type of thing when we were working with our weavings, when we were making our looms. So this is the fold side. Make sure that yours is also the fold side. And you're going to make a line almost out by the corner. Okay. So I'm going to make a little line there. Okay. Then down to the bottom, I'm going to make a mark where I think halfway is. So halfway meaning that this space over here is about the same as this space. All right, and I'm going to do this all the way down at the bottom. Okay, so somewhere close to the middle. So I have a line all the way up at the top that comes down a little ways, and I have a line that's at the bottom. Now watch how I turn this. This is the fold side. I'm going to turn it this way. Okay. So I have a line down here and a line here now. And this is the fold side. This is the open side. Please make sure that that's how yours is. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is start at almost the top of the paper, and we're going to draw down to this line, and then we're going to curve and go all the way up to about here. So watch me do it first. Don't do it as I'm doing it. Watch me do it first. All right, so I'm drawing a straight line down. Now I'm going to start to curve, touch that line, and now I'm going to curve back up like that. Okay, looks like a really, really long U shape. Now I'm going to come over to this one. You can pause the video and do that. So now I'm going to come over to this one, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start, I'll start over almost at the bottom. So I'm going to draw down. When I'm almost to this line, I'm going to start to curve, touch that line, and then I'm going to bring it back. What's really important is the thickness, okay? You don't want to make yours really, really, really skinny. You want to make sure that it's nice and wide, right? So this one is a longer U. This is a shorter U, okay? Now I'm going to turn my paper like this again with the fringes on the bottom. This is our fold side. Make sure that yours opens over on this side, okay? And what we're gonna do now is we're not gonna start all the way at this line. We're gonna come down a little bit and we are going to curve down to that, okay? So notice I didn't start here. I came down a little bit and I curved, and I didn't curve to the edge. I came in a little bit. What might help is if you put a little line here and a line here, and then curve down to those lines. All right, please do that. Okay, for the next step, what we're going to do is we are going to cut out, and I don't want you to do this next step. I'm just trying to show you where you're going to cut. So we're going to cut on the outside line. Oops. Okay, I'm trying to show you the outside line and then down. We're not going to worry about this line. We're not going to worry about this line. So we're just going to cut out on that black line. Leave yours in pencil. I just wanted to show you. So now I'm holding it. I'm going to cut. And again, please watch me do this first and then you do. I'm going to stop there, and now I'm going to curve up on that line. Okay, now I'm going to cut that part out, and then cut all the way up. Okay, so what we've just done is we have just made a vase. Okay, I know it doesn't look like it, but we've just made a vase for some flowers. Okay? If yours is too big or doesn't look like that, you can always, come in and make it a little bit skinnier. What happens is if you make it too small, then there's not much that we can do, but you could always make it a little bit smaller if you want. I'm going to keep mine just like that. So you'll notice that I opened it to the white side. That's important. And next, we're going to fold our other paper just like we did our first one. So we're going to fold it in half, matching those corners, moving our fingers inside. Other one comes down. All right. Now on this one, we're going to do two different kinds of flowers. Okay. So I'm going to look from side to side, and I'm going to draw a line down the middle. On this side, we're going to make a tulip. On this side, we're going to make a circular daisy-like flower. Right? So for the tulip, nice and easy, we're going to try to make the biggest U shape that we can in this space. So my U is going to come down almost all the way to the bottom. And then I want to try to come up to the same height. This one can actually be a little bit longer. Okay. Now in the middle of this, so from here to here, we're going to put a dot in the middle. Okay. And now we're going to make a W. Okay. And that W, if you watch, make sure you watch first. I'm going to come down to about here, and then I'm going to go up to that dot. So I go down and up to the dot to make the letter V. And then to make a W, I need another V. So I go down, and then I'm going to go up to that line. So I made the letter W, and at the top center of the W is where that dot was. Okay. Over here, we are going to make a circle, but we don't want to make it as big as this whole square because we want to make some little petals around the outside. So my circle is going to be in the middle of that section and is going to be about that big. Okay. Now for the spikes that go around, it's going to end up kind of looking like a sun. What I like to do is put another circle. So this one would be as big of a circle as I can fit in this space. I'm going to put another circle around. Okay, and I do that because I want my petals to be as big as they possibly can be. All right. So we're going to start out with a very basic triangle. So starting on this outside circle, I'm going to slant down. And now over here, I'm going to slant down. Okay, so I made a triangle shape. Now, this is really important. I'm going to turn my paper a little bit. And now, starting over here, I'm going to come down to where this triangle ended. And now I'm going to come down like this. Now I'm going to turn my paper again. And I'm going to keep doing those same steps, turning my paper. Until I get all the way around. And turning our paper makes it so that our triangles go straight out in the right direction. So if you notice, I have about this much space left. So I'm going to put the tip of a triangle here. I'm going to start here, go up, and then I'm going to come all the way over to this one. So up and down. All right. So now I've just made a nice almost sun shape, and I have a big U with some points on it. Okay. What helps me now is if I erase that, you don't have to if you can remember that you're not going to cut it out. So I erase that outside circle. And the last step for today is remember you have 2 pieces of paper. And what we're going to be doing is the first thing we can do is cut right down the middle. So we're going to cut out this flower and this flower. Okay. Now you could stop the video now, but I have some really good tips for cutting out each of these flowers. So the first tip is I want to hold this paper down, and I like to cut out the U shape first. Okay, again, holding the paper because we're cutting 2 pieces of paper out, and we want them to cut out the same shape. So I have 2 pieces of paper now. I've cut the U shape out, and now I'm going to cut all the way from this point to this point, all the way over to this point. So like a straight line. Okay, and what's nice is now I turn the paper like this, I hold on to it, and now I just have to cut down like that, and you'll notice that the tip of my scissors goes to the bottom of that V, and then I turn it this way, and I cut, and that falls right out, and then I can do the same thing here. All right, so now what's nice is I have 2 tulips ready. Take my scraps and recycle them. And then same thing with this flower is if you kept that line, great. If you didn't keep that line and you erased it, basically we're just going to cut from the points, straight lines to the points, turning the paper as I cut. Now I have something that looks like a weird circle, and what I'm going to do now is that same thing that I did with the tulip where I cut down like that, turn my paper, cut down, and it falls right out. cut down, and I'm just going to keep doing this as I turn. Cutting through both pieces of paper. And so mine, my papers are starting to move a little bit on me. So I just want to kind of reline things up. And I got a couple more cuts. All right. And so when I'm all done, I have it cut out like that. You'll notice I have a lot of little pieces, but sometimes cutting out something and getting a lot of little pieces is better than only having one big piece. All right, so I have one that has some pencil lines. I'm going to flip that over so that we don't see it. And now I'm going to kind of show you what we did and what we're going to have for next class. So we have our vase here. And next class, we are going to be making stems. And it's just going to be a white flower vase with flowers that's going to go onto our weaving. So if you don't like 4 flowers and you want to add 2 more, feel free to design your own 2 other flowers using another sheet of paper from your art book. If you know of a different flower, these are just the 2 that I'm teaching. And you can cut out 2 other ones and then have them ready for next week. Next week, we'll talk about how we're going to do the stems. Okay, so good luck, everyone. I hope that you learned a little bit about drawing flowers and you learned a little bit about how to make something by folding the paper and so that both sides are even and match. And we call that a line of symmetry. I forgot to say that earlier. So just like butterfly wings, we can make a vase just like that. So again, save these. You could even put all of your pieces inside and then just keep it safe somewhere for next class, next week. All right, nice job, everyone.